Hello, and welcome to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. I am your host, Kaylin John-Louis, and I am so honored to be on the air with you all today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And before we go any further, just a friendly reminder to make sure that you are keeping yourself safe, whether that is physically, mentally, holistically, just making sure that you are taking care of yourself. When you go out into crowds, make sure you are using the buddy system and that someone you know knows your location in case of emergency. Also, make sure that if you are feeling sick or any sniffles or anything like that, that you go get checked out. We are still in that summer time where there is summer flu, summer colds, COVID, and so many other things going on. So if you are feeling sick, go to the doctor, get checked out, make sure that you are okay. And if there are any other problems with your body, go to the doctor and make sure you are doing well. Also, remember that your mental health is very important. So please make sure you're taking care of your mind. And if you need to go talk to someone, go to a doctor, like I said, again, your therapist, and make sure that you speak with them about the things that are going on. Also, I encourage you to download the Hallelujah 95.3 app so that you can listen to the show on the go on your electronic devices, and tag someone that you know and have them listen into today's upcoming discussion. Now, to get right into it, as you know, life, as we continue to grow and we continue to go places, and as we enter new places and we elevate to higher places, there are some lessons in life that we learn along the way. Sometimes they come from hardships or challenges or just life's biggest curveballs, and they end up helping us in the long run. But I don't know if you are like me and have had a moment where things have just gotten frustrated. You may be in a friendship or relationship or just some type of ship in your life that is causing you frustration or causing you to feel like you are not being heard. There are also times where we just don't have that moment to be conscious of our peace, be conscious of the energy that comes around us. And today, I am so excited to talk about protecting your peace, because that is something very big. I think all of us as a society are starting to realize that it's so important to take care of ourselves, and not necessarily for a selfish sense, but to make sure that even as we go through things and we encounter things, that we make sure that we are at least putting our best foot forward and looking out for ourselves if no one else does. And so today I have the honor of having an awesome guest by the name none other than Dr. Zemoria Johnson with me to talk about protecting your peace. And before she comes on in, I do want to introduce her. So Dr. Johnson is a Tallahassee native, daughter, friend, volunteer, mentor, pharmacist, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. In 2018, she graduated from Florida A&M University's College of Pharmacy. Her true calling in life has always been to be a servant leader. And when she's not on the clock serving her community, at the hospital, off the clock, she is investing her time, volunteering, and traveling. She enjoys opportunities where she gets to mentor students attending local middle and high schools, as well as future practicing pharmacists. And in between those mentoring sessions, she serves as the CEO of her family's nonprofit, the Zemoria Johnson Foundation Incorporated. In April 2021, she founded Therapeutic RX Consulting LLC, a company designed to provide holistic health, wellness, and life development services. She's also the founder of Prestigious Youth Thinkers, a mentoring program created to empower, raise, and guide to continue her family's legacy of volunteering and making sure that she's helping elementary and middle school girls. She's so thankful to be in the community, so thankful to help the next generation of servant leaders. And she really hopes that one day they will also invest time into their communities in which they live, I believe that she is truly a remarkable woman, and I am so honored to know her. Again, her name is Dr. Zemoria Johnson. I'm so honored to have her on my show. Welcome to the show, Dr. Johnson.
Hello. Hey, Kaylin. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being willing to be a part of the show. Now, for those who don't know, have never heard of Dr. Johnson, she has a lot of wisdom, and that's why I wanted her to come on to talk about this topic, because I actually was scrolling on Instagram and on TikTok and happened to see a video come up about someone sharing some things about protecting your peace. And I'll actually read the excerpt of what it said in why it stuck out to me, because on the video it said people want peace until they realize peace means changing your tone when speaking with someone who's irritated you, no longer making everything an argument, listening before responding, setting boundaries, and understanding others have set and no longer allow anyone just to have access to you. Some of you don't want to realize real peace or want to achieve real peace, because to get peace and to require peace, you have to give it to other people. And the question that stuck out was, how do you expect peace when you're responding in toxic ways? And when I read that, my brain immediately said, yeah, I got to talk about this on my radio show, because we all have a lot of things that we are dealing with, and we get so stressed out, get in moments where we don't understand what's going on, and we respond in toxic ways when there's so many other productive and positive ways to respond to that. So we're talking about protecting your peace. Dr. Johnson, can you please share, what does that mean to protect your peace, and why is it important to protect it?
Ooh, Kaylin, listen, I know that we only have a few moments, but to start off, I would just say that protecting your peace just means, first and foremost, identifying who you are on the inside and what you've been purposed to do, and making sure that you don't allow anyone or anything, including yourself, to get in the way of you being able to do that. So I'm in a unique position where, I actually ended up having to work through COVID as an essential worker. And that was a pivotal moment to make me have to really sit down and figure out how I can continue to cultivate a peace-like energy, how to make sure that people who were around me understood that, I'm working in tough opportunities where I can either be mentally agile and think about how I can best show up to help my patients, help my community, and at the same time still show up for myself. And that was something that you mentioned earlier, where it's not selfish to put yourself first by protecting your peace. So again, you have to really figure out what that looks like for you. Is it when you first wake up in the morning? You can't just get on Instagram, get on Facebook, and just start scrolling. Maybe that means you need to spend the first 15 minutes just praying and meditating and asking God to give you guidance as you get ready to prepare for your day. It could be when you are around other people. I know personally I'm an empath, so I can really pick up on energies. And once I already have that discernment, that wisdom that I've prayed for, and I would encourage your listeners to do the same. When you notice that this person is already giving off that energy, you mentioned from the post, they say that you have to still give peace and show peace. In the event that person is not reciprocating that, then in the future, let me just stick to just saying hello and goodbye, and then we go our separate ways. So again, you have to figure out what works best for you to maintain your peace. And above all else, remember that, last week I heard my pastor say that we automatically get peace. It's a gift that came from God. So just like time, you can't exchange it, you can't buy it. But once you have it, it's up to you to make sure that you keep your peace meter fulfilled in all of those different ways.
I like that, a peace meter. I've never heard of that before, but it is good to keep that filled. I think, honestly, if I were to define protecting your peace, it would be doing things differently, honestly, changing your perspective in certain situations. Because even as you said, and I would add too, a lot of times we are going to have those moments where certain people just pluck a nerve. They just hit that nerve or certain things, and is really consciously recognizing the things that irritate you, the things that cause your day or your mood or your energy to be disturbed, and is redirecting yourself to a place where you don't surround yourself with that. It also includes denying access to people who bring negative energy in your life. And I said that because a lot of times we think that life situations are the things that are causing our peace to be disrupted, but a lot of times it's the people you surround yourself with that you will never realize are causing you to have some stress or some bad energy around you. You ever have that one friend or that one person who every time you talk to them, they always have something negative to say? And it's just so annoying in the sense of there's so many positive things you can focus on, yet you choose not to. And that is something I encourage you to do if you are having that moment where you have someone in your life, whether they're a friend, family member, someone you're in a relationship with. Maybe you might have to take a step back, cut that off, because you don't want that to disrupt your peace. Your peace is something that you are, as Zemoria said, or as Dr. Johnson stated, you are gifted with that from God. God gives that peace to us, especially as believers, because we need it to be able to live a holy and separated life. But also it's that point of knowing what you should and should not have around you, what you can and cannot take. And it's being able to see in that moment that sometimes you just have to take a pause on what you're doing in order to get to a better place. Anything else you want to add?
I think that you hit on a very good point. It's about making sure that even when you select the people that you are going to have in your circle, I've always heard that it's okay if you have a very small circle, especially as when you're doing amazing things like Kaylin is. It's important that you have genuine friends and family who are sowing, who are speaking life into what you're trying to do in order to help serve God's people. I think another thing is, even if you do have family members and friends who, mean well, if it's not honorable, if you feel like it's immoral, it's not truthful, you really have to figure out whether or not is this someone who really does want my peace to be maintained as I'm trying to be obedient and do what God has called me to do. And I think that's something where when you're talking about protecting your peace, are you allowing God to give you that wisdom, that discernment to do what he's called you to do, right? And I think another thing is, and it was something that I was fortunate to hear on my podcast while we're waiting, was one of the guests mentioned no, N-O. No is a complete sentence. And as I've gotten older, I really appreciate my parents allowing my sister and I to have the type of relationship where we were able to voice how we felt. If we felt like someone around us didn't give us peace, or there was something going on to where we needed their advice, their guidance, they were there for us because that's what God put them on earth to do, for our parents, right? And at the same time, as we've gotten older, they've had to learn how to adjust to my sister and I now being more comfortable and confident in our no's. And so I would also encourage listeners to practice that. The guest said that it's important to be able to literally look in the mirror and be prepared to say no and leave it there. And it's not because, again, you're being selfish, but because you're trying to protect your peace. So you have to give yourself the opportunity to learn how to show up for yourself. So that way you're not dishonoring yourself when you decide to tell somebody a yes when you really meant to no. And now you don't have any peace about it.
That's very important. Another key thing with protecting your peace that ties into everything we're saying is that sometimes when you have to protect your peace, it's not always about someone else bothering you. A lot of times we overreact to things, or we have things that instead of thinking about something after a life situation happens or curveball life throws at us, we just overreact. And in that moment, it's important to find yourself and tell yourself that that thing does not deserve your energy. We put our energy in places that they don't need to be, and that causes our peace of mind to go out the window. You can be in a good mood, and the minute somebody does something or the minute you see something that's one of your triggers, your peace of mind is completely gone. And you have to get to the point, even as you go through things, even as you continue to elevate to new places and you switch from one chapter to the next in your life, where you realize sometimes you have to be done with some things. You got to be done with some people. You got to be done with some old habits. You're not mad, you're not bothered, you're just done because you're protecting your peace at all costs. And I actually saw this thing on Google. It said for every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of your peace of mind. Now, if you think about that and you're constantly mad continuously 24 hours a day, you are literally giving your life away for things that don't matter. You're giving away your peace of mind and giving your positive energy and placing that in places that don't serve you. And you have to learn how to change that, how to put that in a different place, because if you don't, everyone else is going to be moving on in life. Everyone else is going to be thriving, and you're going to be stuck still in a place, frustrated and not prioritizing yourself. Now, we talk about protecting your peace. I want you to personally share some ways with the audience of how you protect your peace and just give some tips, because I want to know what you would suggest, but also what are the benefits to doing the things you do.
You know you're on here preaching, right, Kaylin? I just want to, we thank God for Kaylin with this right here, honey. Okay, listen. All right. I wrote them down, Kaylin. So here we go. Number 1, ignore people's ignorance. Mic drop. 2, stop expecting you from others. 3, pray, ask, obey. What God told you to do wasn't on a conference call. 4, saying and staying in your no. Make wealthy health and financial decisions. 5, boundaries. I listen with my eyes. I have high standards, low expectations, and I give blank to God. And that came from Pastor Isaac Curry from Redefine TV. Number 6, I can't get peace from others or things. It's a free gift given from the man upstairs. And when in doubt, say no. That's all I have. That's all I have, Kaylin. So when I go through all of those, I want to touch a little bit more on one of them that I recently had to have a heart-to-heart with my best friend, my dad, where he came home frustrated because he was saying that there was a situation where he went out of his way for someone and he was expecting that person to reciprocate that. And it was a business-like situation. So it was, for me, I just had to be 100 with him. I said, look, Dad, you can't expect you from others. And I'm guilty of that as well. Even amongst familiar friendships, like you can't always expect people to, if you bring them Chick-fil-A, that they're going to bring you Chick-fil-A the next day. You don't know what they have going on to where they've just, it might not even be a second thought. They could be going through things at work. They could have a family situation going on. And so I just encourage people who, when you say that you're a Christian, and you mentioned this earlier as well, yes, we're going to go through hardships. And, you know, unfortunately, it'd be great if God could just grace us to where we could just live a life full of no trouble, no hurt, no pain. However, if we're supposed to be the light, if we're going to be the salt of the earth, we have to be ready to also get in the trenches and sometimes go through things that can make us wonder, if we are really trying to live our life like Christ and keep our peace. So I would just encourage others to really take into consideration that if you say you're going to be a Christian, just know that there are going to be days where you're being Christian-like. And if you don't get that in return, don't let that change your character. Another thing is, I mentioned earlier with making wealthy health and financial decisions. And I tie that when I say pray, obey, and trust God, because sometimes we ask God again, Lord, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? How should I move? And he'll tell us. This could be also dealing with relationships, whether it's romantic, a friend, whatever. And he tells us, we hear him. And we decide to do the exact opposite. Now, I'm not going to go against anybody who may want to gamble. I'm going to use that as an example because it just was laid on my heart. But if you know you need this money to buy groceries when y'all know that eggs cost $6 for a dozen, okay? Gas is $100 a gallon, but you choose to spend your money on gambling, what sense does that make? And so we just have to be intentional, bringing it all back again to peace. When God blesses us with opportunities, we have to make sure that in order to show him that he gives us with more, are we being responsible with what we have at hand? And then finally, boundaries. Oh, I love me a good boundary. Those who know me well and have my personal iPhone number, okay? If they have an iPhone and they try to send me a text, they will see at 9:45 p.m. sharp, Dr. Johnson's notifications are on silent at 9:45 p.m. sharp. My coworkers know this. My mother knows this. Everybody who knows me knows that I like to have my peace and quiet, so that way my peace meter can be refilled. I think that we do ourselves a disservice if we're not willing to, again, figure out what peace looks like for us. And then we practice having moments, whether that's meditation, whether that is going on a walk by ourselves, whether it's journaling, figuring out whatever it takes for you to get back to you. And I mentioned this earlier where I said that in the event if there's supposed to be someone who truly loves you and you say, I just need a moment, I need a break, you say you're no. If that person is not able to respect that boundary, you need to reconsider that relationship. Not saying you cut them off completely, even though my cutoff game is strong. Help me, Lord. At least I know, right? At least I know that I honored myself again, and I have to keep going back to that because that's a part of protecting your peace. And also, it's trying to establish whether or not that person really loves me for me and wants the best for me by respecting what I need at this time, as well as my peace and vice versa.
Ooh, if you don't have a pen and a paper and are taking notes, something is wrong with you, because this is something that's very important. And I'm going to, Dr. Johnson just said a lot. I'm just going to co-sign on it because I got some tips of my own as well. There's some things that as we're going with our peace, I want to say this: peace does not mean being in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means that you're going to be in the midst of some things, as Dr. Johnson said, that are going to irritate you, that are going to frustrate you, that are going to confuse you. But it's where you decide to invest your energy. It's where you decide to focus your mind on. And it's the things that you are in the midst of where you still have that peace that can calm your heart, even in the midst of all of that trouble. And then you have times as well when you're wondering, okay, how do I effectively protect my peace? Because she gave some great tips, but I'm going to say these things. Number one, let go of things you can't control. I always live by everything happens for a reason. That is my thing in life. If I can't control it and I can't do anything to change it, I'm learning right now to continue to let go of it. Avoid comparing yourself to others. That's number two. That's going to always be something that causes your peace to be disrupted because you're spending too much time trying to be someone else when you are your own self. Number three, keep your faith larger than your fear. Sometimes you get scared and you have times in life where you are unsure, but you still have to keep your faith. Develop an attitude of gratitude. That's number four. Number five, avoid spaces that just don't feel right. If you feel the energy is off, leave. It does not serve you. Number six, I believe is the point I'm on. Avoid people who drain your energy. Your energy is so important. Pay attention to your triggers. Know the things that cause you to be whatever, and be aware of your thoughts and the things that you're thinking, because that's the other part. Your peace can go away by the things that are in your mind. That's why I say mental health is so important, because we have so many things that we think on a daily basis that will disrupt us before we even leave the house, before we even do anything. things that are in our minds. So you have to protect yourself. And then I'm going to read this last part that Breonna Pastor said. I was reading the quote because I'm a big quote girl. I love seeing those and being able to elaborate. But Breonna Pastor said, I've learned to be mindful of where I decide to invest my energy. When a situation asks me to spend energy on it, but I am aware that the situation does not have my value in mind, I take my energy back. When my focus is anywhere other than what is best for me, my health begins to deteriorate. I start paying attention to the root of everything that asks for my attention: my heart, my energy, my sadness, my grief. I started asking if I was being who I was at my core, and I allow myself time to breathe. I take back energy for myself when the value of who I am is not considered. I can feel what I feel and still take care of me. And I'm going to say that last part. You can feel what you feel, but still take care of you. You can have situations that go on in life. You can see different things going on in the world, but still take care of you. How do you take care of you? By protecting your peace, by allowing the things that you go through, by the things that happen to not change who you are and to push you forward. Now, you mentioned boundaries, Dr. Johnson. Boundaries and setting those are so important because that is the main way you will protect your peace. And before we wrap up, because our time is going by like this, can you give advice, the last tidbit to those listening who may be struggling to set boundaries in relationships, whether that's with friends, family members, or romantic relationships? Give some advice on how they can get through it.
Good question. Two things. One, I would say again, sit with yourself, by yourself, and just write down what you would want from said person and see if you could also give that person whatever it is that you're asking for. And then two, I would recommend you checking out my podcast episode called Know Your No, which is on my website while we're waiting. And if you just gather yourself and listen to it, it'll help you quickly figure out what a yes or a no is. And again, I mentioned earlier, you have to practice boundaries for yourself. So if you're blessed with $50, okay, you know you need to tithe off of that first, right? And then sit down and figure out, okay, what expectations do I have in terms of bills? Are there any other commitments? And then go from there. And so you just have to, be intentional with making sure that above all else, that if it feels right, if it feels peaceful, then go with it.
Great advice. And to add on to knowing your no, also know that no means no. If you say no, don't retract your no and turn it into a yes. If the answer is no, the answer is no because there's a reason you put that no in place. But as we wrap up the show, the main reason I wanted to talk about protecting your peace is because, like I always say, you get one life. You don't want to live your life being stressed out with so many things going on when you can easily start retracting that negative energy and putting in positive energy. So to protect your peace, it's okay to cancel an appointment. It's okay to not take a call. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to let go. And it's okay to say no. But most importantly, make sure that you are taking the time to protect your peace. Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson. I wish we could continue talking about it because we have so much that we could give. But as we wrap up, can you share with the audience just some ways that they can get in contact with you if they want to know more about you, about therapeutic RX consulting, and just the many, many things that you do?
Thank you, Kaylin, again for the opportunity. I am so proud of you. And I just pray that God continues to use you as you make an indelible mark on this earth. And I can be reached at my website, www.drzemoria.com. And y'all have heard me talk on and on and on about money because I am super excited about a current initiative that my company is doing, which is called the Future Millionaires Club, And we have been blessed to have amazing and wonderful speakers. And we have an event coming up at the very end of this month. So go to www.fmcwealth.com kaylinlive.com to sign up for this virtual free can't miss event. Thank you again, Kaylin.
Of course. Thank you so much. Y'all get registered for the event. And as she stated, she is a podcast host. While we're waiting, you go check that out. It is very awesome. My mom got to be a part of it, so I'm looking forward to hearing that episode. And it's just some really, really great information. But I thank everyone so much for tuning in. As you know, if you want to get in contact with me, you can find everything on the Kaylin's Caring Connection website, which is www.kaylinscaringconnection.com. I'm so grateful and appreciative to everyone's support, and I really hope that you are enjoying these motivational conversations. Always know that I care about you, and if no one else has told you today, know that I love you. Thank you so much for listening, and catch me on the next KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, it's Kaylin with Kaylin's Caring Connection. Guess what? I'm hosting the second annual hashtag We Got Your Back Service Day, where again, we will be giving out backpacks filled with necessities to Tallahassee's homeless. Last year, we were able to impact 100 homeless lives, and this year we intend to impact so many more lives through this initiative. I need your help again to make this event successful. You can connect and give via Amazon. We're also accepting monetary donations. To find more information about this event, go to www.kaylinscaringconnection.com. Thank you for connecting.
Hey everybody, it's Paula Johnson, and I'm asking that you join me in support of the annual Backpack for the Homeless Service Day with Kaylin's Caring Connection. Hey, let's show our unhoused community members our support by either donating or volunteering for that service day. For additional information, please visit kaylinscaringconnection.com. I really hope to see you on August 12th. Take care.